Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is Muhammad Farhan bin Ahmad and today I will be presenting about innovation in the hygienic aspect of food industry. Now is for the introduction. So what is food hygiene? According to Conformation, it is the measure that must be undertaken in order to ensure the safety of food at all stages of the production chain in the food industry. It is also the measure and condition necessary to control hazard and to ensure fitness of food human consumption of a foodstuff considering its intended use, according to Van der Velde and Van der Meulen 2011. Food safety is an umbrella term which covers every aspect and practices that are supposed to ensure the food are fit for consumption. Food hygiene is more specific, which falls under the umbrella of food safety. Now is for food safety control. There are a few methods, regulation as well as guidelines to control the safety and the hygiene of the food. First thing first is HACCP, or known as Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. It is a systemic risk-based approach to prevent the biological, chemical and physical contamination of food in production, packaging and distribution environment. The HACCP concept is designed to counter health hazard by identifying potential food safety problems before they happen. Next is GMP, or known as Good Manufacturing Practices. It is a quality assurance guidelines to produce food, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical. These guidelines lay out the protocol which manufacturers must implement to assure that their products are consistently high quality from batch to batch and safe for human use, including mandatory products inspection at critical control points. In Malaysia, there are regulations known as Food Hygiene Regulation 2009. It is to provide an infrastructure to control the hygiene and safety of food sold in the country. Next is for the main content of this presentation. There is a lot of source of food contamination. First thing first, it comes from microorganisms such as Salmonella, Campylobacter jejuni, Escherichia coli, as well as Staphylococcus aureus. This microorganism can cause sickness to human body. Next is chemical such as fertilizer, detergent and pesticide. These chemical products can be found in kitchen and it is located near to the food source. Then is physical such as dirty hand, hair and pest bodies. This physical source of food contamination usually contains a lot of dangerous microorganisms which can cause sickness to human body if the food is contaminated. Lastly is allergenic, the food that causes an allergic reaction to certain human which is encountered by another food such as gluten, peanuts and eggs. The key elements of food hygiene are cleaning procedure. Thorough cleaning of the kitchen, equipment and kitchenware including plates and cutlery is vital. Then, prevent cross-contamination. This includes preventing bacterial, physical, chemical and allergenic contamination, particularly by having appropriate equipment in place such as separate cutting boards. Then, personal hygiene, which includes hand washing, protective clothing, illness procedure and other duties such as avoiding smoking. Then, allergen control. All businesses must explain which food are allergenic and must prevent allergen from cross-contaminating other food. Then, safe storage of food. This includes storage location, container, a FIFO system, labeling and temperature control. Lastly, cooking temperature. Businesses must ensure that they cook and hold food at appropriate temperature to prevent bacterial risk. There are a few practices that can be followed to control the food hygiene. First thing first is protect. Protecting food from risk of contamination including harmful bacteria, poison and foreign bodies. Then is prevent. Preventing any bacteria present multiplying at which will result in the illness of consumer and early food spoilage. Then destroy. Destroying any harmful bacteria in the food by thorough cooking or processing. Lastly, discard. By discarding unfit or contaminated food. So for now is innovation of hygienic aspect. Clean room technologies has been chosen for the innovation of hygienic aspect. Clean room technologies significantly reduce the contamination of food and their interior primary packaging by the use of reduced air and waterborne dust and microorganisms plus a hygienic environment in which the low level of pollutant or particulates is controlled through the implementation of very specific design. Clean rooms are designed to minimize food and beverage contamination by application of positive filtered or incinerated air pressure and a tightly controlled environment. Now is for the engineering design step for the clean room. First, to consider the flow of material and peoples. The worker in a clean room are the largest source of contamination. Thus, all the critical processes must isolate from the worker access point. Employees must be trained and follow the clean room protocol. Next is to consider the clean room classification. It is important when engineering to consider that there can be no more than two differences in classification between physical spaces. For an example, Class 10,000 room cannot connect with Class 10 area, but it is acceptable to have a Class 10,000 to connect with Class 100. Next is to consider the space pressurization. Part of the technology of the clean room is to maintain a positive air pressure to minimize the introduction of particles. It is advised to have a positive pressure going from a clean area to a less clean area. A pressure differential of 0.03 to 0.05 inches of water has been found to be successful in helping reduce the introduction of contaminant. Fourth, the air change range per room consideration. The clean room classification, the occupancy rate, and the anticipated activity all need to be taken into consideration. Each classification has a suggested range, and a rate should be chosen within the range based on this consideration. Next is air exfiltration. Generally, clean rooms are under positive pressure but not hermetically sealed. There will be exfiltration into adjoining spaces and usually leakage of 1% to 2% due to electrical outlets, window frame, door frame, etc. Leakage is not necessarily a problem but needs to be accounted for. Next is space and air balance. All the air coming in, such as supply and infiltration, needs to be balanced with all the air going out, for example, exhaust and exfiltration. Final adjustment need to be made once the clean room is up and running due to unplanned leakage. Lastly, to consider the environmental condition. Temperature is one of the main items to be addressed. Comfort of the workers need to be taken into consideration as they may be wearing suit over their regular clothes. Now is for the clean room technology's benefits. First thing first, it can retain the freshness of the food. Bacteria are one of the causes of food to be easily become stale and most likely to be rejected by the customer. The implementation of this technology will significantly retain the freshness of the food products. Next, it can reduce the product's recall. As the food produced are in high quality, the product recalls from the consumer are most likely to be reduced. Then, it can extend the shelf life of the food as the food are not contaminated by the microbes. Lastly, it can increase the yield of the food produced as the raw material used are fresh and more product can be produced. The application of clean room technology in food industry has been implemented in the grain milling processes, bakeries, meat and dairy, sugar and confectionery, seafood product preparation, and lastly, fruit and vegetable preserving. For the challenge of clean room technology, first, the regulatory compliance of a clean room environment. The most basic challenge for any clean area environment is meeting regulatory standards between involving best practices, new technology, and regulatory updates. It is a never-ending job to remain in compliance. Then, clean room environment and Listeria. Listeria is a top bacterial concern for most food facilities which relies on aseptic processing. Listeria can grow even in aseptic condition, which can cause problems to clean room environment. Then, high cost of clean room and the consequence of design overkill. In pharmaceutical, for instance, the construction cost for an ISO 7 to ISO 8 clean room can range from $250 per square foot to $1,500 per square foot, largely due to the use of stainless steel for corrosion resistance. Design overkill may also contribute to cost problems, particularly in electronic manufacturing. Lastly is to find safe solution for clean room as well as clean area. By gaining an in-depth understanding of the challenge facing clean rooms, facility manager can implement solution. Employee training, clean room equipment, and customized planning can help facility better follow the current regulation, reduce contamination risk, as well as maximize investment. Now is for the conclusion. First, food hygiene is a crucial and essential in food industry in order to ensure that the food products are safe to be consumed. Then, the law and regulation which related to food safety that were set by the authority should be followed and obeyed, as it is to ensure the quality of the food are good and safe. Lastly, the clean room of technology. The implementation of clean room technology toward food industry should be widened in order to avoid any food contamination and eliminate source of food contamination. Lastly is the references. These are the list of bibliography of the references. That is all from me. Thank you for watching.